Good morning, everyone. We're starting off our show here on Saturday morning with our Alpine Junior Does. Our late junior kids, one is going over two today. We have the youngest kid in the class, a June kid. She is over two for general appearance. A doe that just walks more uphill. She's level over that back and rump, primarily in that loin area, also in from her chine, from hips to pins. A doe that is just flatter and leveler throughout. A doe that's shown us more width in that chest floor. A doe that for her size has a little more body capacity, more springer rib than our doe here in two. Two is placing over three. In her turn now, we have a doe that's longer bodied, a doe that's more correct in that front end assembly. She blends smoother from her neck into her withers than a doe here in three. Three is placing over four. It is for her advantage in general appearance. A doe that's more correct in that rear leg set. More width between the hocks. She has more proper angulation to that rear leg, and she has the advantage of body capacity, being deeper in her heart girth and deeper in that rear rib than our doe in four. Four is placing over five. It is for her advantage in general appearance. A doe that's more upstanding, a longer bodied doe. A doe that is more correct in the feet and legs, has more substance of bone, and more correct on those rear pasterns. We will commend the fifth place doe here today for her body capacity.
In our Alpine Late Junior Kid class, first place goes to entry 1, PV Farms Hilly Halley, exhibited by Anna Wildermuth, Akron, Indiana. Second place to entry 3, Gilmore Acres Ranger Smooch, exhibited by Hannah Wolf, Mason, Illinois. Third place to entry 2, Rosewinds Bentley Maybelline, exhibited by Alexandria Stewart, Frankfort, Ohio. Fourth place to entry 4, Gilmore Acres Ranger Sassafras, exhibited by Hannah Wolf. And fifth place to entry 5, Karst Creek Sassafras, exhibited by Debbie Haberlin, Georgetown, Indiana.
Starting off our Nubian show with a really strong class, perhaps the strongest class of juniors we've had so far. And love to watch these kids on the move. But starting out with a kid that I thought sorted herself pretty handily to the top of the class for her advantage in general appearance. A kid that has the advantage in that front end assembly, the way she blends from her neck into her withers, the tightness of her elbow, combined with that body capacity, the depth in her heart girth, the depth in that barrel, the spring of rib over our kid in two. Two is placing over three. It is for her advantage in the length of body, the upstandingness, the dairy strength, the sharpness that we have throughout over our doe here in three. Three is placing over four. Not the biggest kid in this class by any means, but a kid that really comes to the top due to her general appearance. It is for her general appearance, the levelness over her back and rump, the correctness in her feet and legs, the width between the hocks, the strength of her pasterns, the width in the chest floor, coupled with the body capacity, that spring of rib, that depth throughout, that puts her over our kid in four. Four is placing over five. It is for her advantage in general appearance. Again, it's the strength over the back and the rump, especially that chine area when she's on the move, the levelness over the rump from hips to pins, coupled with dairy strength. A kid that when you put your hands on her, she's just not carrying quite as much weight as our kid here in five. Five over six, it is for her advantage again in general appearance. A kid that is a longer bodied kid, a little more upstanding in that front end. We have a little more width between the hocks, spring of rib, depth of body, more power in this kid here in five over a kid in six. Six over seven, it is for her advantage in the body capacity category. We're deeper throughout, wider throughout. Especially in that chest floor and the spring of rib than we are in our kid in seven. Seven over eight. It is for our advantage in general appearance, being a longer bodied leveler kid, especially from hips to pins and thorough to thorough. A kid that is also more upstanding, longer bodied kid than, and more substance of bone than our kid here second from the end. Second from the end over the kid at the end. It is for her advantage here in that body capacity category. We have a kid with much more width and depth throughout. I think that we're fighting with these last two kids just a little less maturity at this point than we do with some of our kids here at the head of the line, but we really like the dairy strength on these two animals.
In our Nubian Lake Junior Kid class, first place goes to entry two, Kiwanis Kids O Vivian, exhibited by Lisa Snassel, Rochester, Indiana. Second place to entry four, Woods River Wednesday, exhibited by Reagan Arney, Avon, Indiana. Third place to entry three, JH Farm Oysters Ocean, exhibited by Diana Hubbard, West Harrison, Indiana. Fourth place to entry 10, KECMR Tomas Willow, exhibited by Rob Smith, St. Paul, Indiana. Fifth place to entry 9, Begley's Troubled Acres Venus, exhibited by Lisa Begley, Martinsville, Ohio. Sixth place to entry 8, Begley's Troubled Acres Hot, exhibited by Lisa Begley. Seventh place to entry 6, KECMR Explorer Faye, exhibited by Rob Smith. Eighth place to entry 5, Begley's Troubled Acres CERN, exhibited by Lisa Light, Cox's Creek, Kentucky. And ninth place to entry 7, Adlo Telegram, exhibited by Lisa Light.
Okay, this is our class of early junior Alpine kids and some really nice growthy kids in this class. Starting off with the most balanced, complete kid in the class. She's going over our second place kid for general appearance, primarily feet and legs. A kid that walks with so much more width between the hocks, more proper angulation to those rear legs, stronger pasterns. A doe that when she is on the move, she's more level over that back and rump than our doe here in 2. 2 is placing over 3. It is for her advantage in turn general appearance, be more level over that back and rump when she is on the move. These two black does are does you really have to watch when they are walking because they don't cooperate at all when they're standing still. And you really have to admire that dariness and that length of body and the correctness when they are on the move. But it is 2 over 3, a very similar pair of does for her advantage in general appearance. And a doe that's just a little more level over that back and rump. She walks with a little more width between the hocks, a little sharper in those withers than our doe in 3. 3 is placing over 4. It is for general appearance again. A doe that's more length of bone, length of body, more upstanding, and she's flatter on that rump from hips to pins and thurl to thurl than our doe in 4. 4 is placing over 5. Again, another doe that when she is on the move has the advantage of general appearance. A doe that is stronger on the feet and legs, primarily those rear pasterns, more proper angulation to the rear legs, more width between the hocks, more correct on those front legs, less tendency to toe out. A doe that she is just longer on that rump as well over our doe here in 5th place. 5 is placing over 6. It is, again, general appearance. A doe that is more correct in the front end assembly, tighter at the point of elbows, wider in the chest floor. A doe that is also excelling in body capacity with more spring of rib, more depth of body than our doe in 6th place. 6 over 7. It is for her advantage in dairy strength. The doe that's much sharper in those withers. She's cleaner with throughout, longer, leaner neck, more openness than our doe here in 7th place. 7 over 8. It is for the general appearance. A doe that walks with much more levelness over her back and her rump. She blends more smoothly from her neck into her withers. The body capacity, the depth of body that she has over our doe here in 8th place. 8 over 9. It is for that levelness over her back and her rump, especially from hips to pins and thurl to thurl, coupled with the strength of feet and legs, those rear pasterns. We will commend the spring of rib on our last place doe. Thank you.
In our Alpine Early Junior Kid class, first place goes to entry 14, G Farms Winnie, exhibited by Hannah Go, Franklin, Indiana. Second place to entry 6, Gilmore Acres Revival Serenity, exhibited by Hannah Wolf, Mason, Illinois. Third place to entry 9, Gilmore Acres Revival Shadow, exhibited by Hannah Wolf. Fourth place to entry 7, PV Farms Legend Mill Jenny, exhibited by Anna Wildermuth, Akron, Indiana. Fifth place to entry 11, Love's Blue Ridge Pocoyo, exhibited by Brenda Leitner, Pittsboro, Indiana. Sixth place to entry 8, PV Farms Legend Mill Marble, exhibited by Anna Wildermuth. Seventh place to entry 10, Gilmore Acres Ranger Soul, exhibited by Hannah Wolf. Eighth place to entry 12, Love's Blue Ridge Dreamin', exhibited by Brenda Leitner. And ninth place to entry 13, Tag Along Eleanor, exhibited by Lauren Harnisfeger, Fountaintown, Indiana.
really nice class of April-born kids here. A lot of give and take up and down through the line. With feet and legs so important on junior does, that would be your concentration. And there's that in this first lineup in these first few does. One is going over to today for her advantage in general appearance. We have a doe that is on the move. She just moves out more upstanding in that front end. She is smoother blended throughout. A kid that when you put your hands on her, she's more flatter boned, she's more open ribbed, thinner skinned than our kid here in 2. 2 is placing over 3. It is for the advantage in body capacity. We have a doe with more springer rib, more depth, width throughout than our doe here in 3. 3 is placing over 4. It is for general appearance. We have a kid that is a little more level over her back and her rump, particularly from hips to pins. She also has that advantage in body capacity, depth in the heart girth, depth in that rear flank than we do in our kid in 4. 4 is placing over 5. It is for her advantage in dairy strength. A kid that is much sharper in those withers, a longer, leaner neck, more open in her ribbing, carrying less excess fleshing. When she walks away from you, she has more width between the hocks as well than our kid in 5. 5 is placing over 6. A real powerhouse of a kid here in 5. I'd just like to sharpen her up, to move her up a little bit more. And it is for this depth, this width, this power, this length of body that is moving her over our kid here in 6. 6 is placing over 7. It's for general appearance, the strength of feet and legs, primarily those pasterns, both fore and rear, the more correct angulation when she's on the move. And then this really beautiful, deep, open-ribbed kid here in 7. 7 placing over 8. It is general appearance. It is the levelness over the back and rump, the smoothness of blending in that front end over this beautiful dairy kid here, second from the end. The kids here, second from the end. When I put my hands on her, this is my favorite kid to feel the skin and the ribbing on. Incredible openness of ribbing and flatness of bone on this kid. And it is that dairy strength that is putting her over our kid here at the end of our first line, coupled with the width between the hocks. We really like the upstandingness and the length of body and that general appearance of this kid here that is standing at the end of our first line. And it is the strength of those feet and legs and the general appearance that moves her over our second lineup. Not to take away from these does in the second lineup, there's a lot of nice things about these kids, but they're just not showing us the balance that we need in general appearance categories to move them on up in that first lineup here today. Thank you.
In our Nubian early junior kid class, first place goes to entry 12, ML Legacy ACL Vista Limits, exhibited by Travis Arney, Avon, Indiana. Second place to entry 26, Stoltman MML Che Young, exhibited by Anna Stoltman, Stanford, Kentucky. Third place to entry 25, JH Farms Espresso's Escape, exhibited by Diana Hubbard, West Harrison, Indiana. Fourth place to entry 15, Hohenbu TM Anthem Independence, exhibited by Holly Broker, Bell Fountain, Ohio. Fifth place to entry 22, White Creek's Fires Sedona, exhibited by Dale Berman, Columbus, Indiana. Sixth place to entry 23, Kiwanis Kids RL Aussie, exhibited by Lisa Sinessel, Rochester, Indiana. Seventh place to entry 16, Hohenbu Elon Virtue Vintage, exhibited by Holly Broker. Eighth place to entry 14, Bagley's Troubled Acre Persona, exhibited by Lisa Bagley, Martinsville, Ohio. Ninth place to entry 18, White Creek's Fires Seymour, exhibited by Dale Behrman. And 10th place to entry 11, Hohenbu Epic Ever in Your Favor, exhibited by Holly Broker.
Another really strong class of Alpine does here. We're starting off with, I think, a trio of does that really came to the top. One is going over two today for her advantage in its dairy strength. When you put your hands on these does, it's the doe that's the sharpest in the withers, the most open in the ribbing, the most flat boned. A beautiful shape to the rib on this Sungal doe here. She has the longest, leanest neck than our doe here in two. Two is placing over three, and it is general appearance. A doe that when she is on the move, she's just leveler over the back and rump. She has the advantage in being wider between the hocks. A doe that has a little more advantage there in the angulation to the rear leg over this very long bodied doe here in three. Three is placing over four. Now in her turn, general appearance. A doe who's more correct primarily in the feet and legs. She is stronger on her pasterns, both fore and rear. She's straighter in that foreleg. She has more proper angulation to the rear leg. She's flatter over the rump from hips to pins than our doe here in four. Four is placing over five. Very similar pair of does here, but a doe that has the advantage in being more upstanding in that front end. She is a longer bodied doe. When she's on the move, she's more level over her rump area from hips to pins than our black doe here in five. Five is placing over six. It is for the general appearance category. A doe, when she's walking away from you, is much wider between the hocks. A doe that has the advantage as well in body capacity with more spring of rib, more depth of body than our very stylish Chamosé doe here in six. Six is placing over seven, and it is for her advantage in dairy strength. A doe that is a little flatter bone, more open ribbed, and a longer bodied doe than our Sungal doe here at the end of our first line. We're taking our Sungal doe here in seventh place over eight in the balance of the class, and it's for general appearance. A doe that just walks with more levelness over her back and rump. She's stronger on her feet and legs, and just a more smoothly blended, balanced doe throughout. Our does in our second lineup are just not showing us the strength and general appearance, primarily feet and legs, the width between the hocks, the strength of pasterns, to move them on up in the class here today. Thank you.
In our Alpine Intermediate Kid class, first place goes to entry 25, G Farms Mercedes, exhibited by Hannah Gobe, Franklin, Indiana. Second place to entry 15, PV Farms Legend Mia Marl, exhibited by Anna Wildermuth, Akron, Indiana. Third place to entry 20, PV Farms Legend Mia May, exhibited by Anna Wildermuth. Fourth place to entry 26, G Farms Mary Kay, exhibited by Hannah Gobe. Fifth place to entry 28, Rose Winds Klein Mandavella, exhibited by Alexandria Stewart, Frankfort, Ohio. Sixth place to entry 24, Fox Hides HFJ Hart, exhibited by Todd Harp, Cynthiana, Kentucky. Seventh place to entry 16, Gilmore Acres Revival Sequoia, exhibited by Hannah Wolf. And eighth place to entry 18, G Acres PH Rotate Lydia, exhibited by Ellery Morgan, Seymour, Indiana.
Intermediate Nubian kids, starting with the doe, going over 2 for her advantage in dairy strength. The doe that's sharper in those withers, more open in her ribbing, just carrying a little less excess fleshing than our doe here in 2. 2 is placing over 3. It is for her advantage in general appearance. The doe that's more correct in that front end assembly. She has less movement in those withers when she is on the move. She is stronger now in her turn and dairy strength, a little sharper in her withers, a longer, leaner neck, more incurving in that thigh, just a little cleaner throughout than a very powerful blonde doe here in 3. 3 is placing over 4. Now in her turn, a general appearance. We have a doe that when she's on the move, she's leveler over her back and her rump, especially from hips to pins and thorough to thorough. A doe that walks with more width in that discussion, and just overall a longer body doe than our doe in 4. 4 is placing over 5, and now it's in her turn in general appearance. A doe that's stronger on her feet and legs, primarily those pasterns, both fore and rear. She has the advantage in body capacity with more spring or rib, more depth of body than our doe in 5. 5 is placing over 6. It is for the advantage in general appearance, being level over her back and her rump when on the move, especially from hips to pins. A doe that now has the advantage as well in feet and legs with more proper angulation to those rear legs than our doe in 6. 6 is placing over 7, and it is now for her turn general appearance. A doe that when she is on the move, she's level over her back, primarily that chine area. When she walks away from you, she's wider between the hocks than our black doe here in 7. 7 over 8. It is for dairy strength. The doe that's just sharper, more upstanding in that front end. She's a longer bone pattern doe than this doe here in 8th place. 8 over 9. It is for her advantage in general appearance. A doe that is stronger on her feet and legs. She has more correct angulation to the rear leg. She's stronger on her pasterns, and she has less tendency to toe out when you viewed from the front than our doe here in 9. 9 over 10. It's for that advantage in body capacity, much more spring of rib, depth of body throughout, coupled with the width between the hocks, and this really upstanding doe here we have in 10th place. 10 over 11 in the balance of the class. It is for that general appearance, that levelness over her back and rump, the upstandingness and the width between the hocks. The second lineup of does, still some really strong individuals up and down through this lineup. Just a really competitive class. Again, to be moved up, I'd like to see does that coupled some general appearance points with, some body capacity to move them on up in the class here today. Thank you all.
In our Nubian intermediate kid class, first place goes to entry 31, Hohenbu Epic Kismet Sunkissed, exhibited by Holly Broker, Bell Fountain, Ohio. Second place to entry 39, Begley's Troubled Acres Electra, exhibited by Lisa Begley, Martinsville, Ohio. Third place to entry 40, Hohenbu Rosalind Rosette, exhibited by Holly Broker. Fourth place to entry 45, Begley's Troubled Acres Sugar, exhibited by Lisa Begley. Fifth place to entry 44, Stoltman Carey, exhibited by Anna Stoltman, Stanford, Kentucky. Sixth place to entry 39, Begley's Troubled, that is the wrong line. Sixth place to entry 37, Solid Oak Princess Buttercup, exhibited by Cora Bowman, Arlington, Ohio. Seventh place to entry 42, KECMR Candyman's Tatum, exhibited by the Rob Smith family, St. Paul, Indiana. In eighth place to entry 46, Begley's Troubled Acres Sweetie, exhibited by Lisa Begley.
starting our Alpine senior doe kid class. One is going over two today for her advantage in general appearance. We have a doe that's stronger on her feet and legs, primarily those pasterns, both forward and rear. A doe that also is more correct in the front end assembly, less movement in those shoulders. She's more uphill when she's on the move, just a really beautifully balanced doe. A doe that I love to walk. She's just really uphill. She walks so smoothly about the ring, and this is why she was an easy top on this class. Two is placing over three. Now in her turn for general appearance. We have a doe that's more correct on her rear legs with more proper angulation to the rear leg. A doe that is more substance of bone. A doe that has the advantage into body capacity. She's deeper in the heart girth, but she carries that depth on back into the rear flank more than our doe here in three. Just a little more length of bone as well. Three is placing over four. In the general appearance category, being level or over that back and rump. A doe that blends a little more smoothly from her neck into her withers. A doe that's a little straighter on the foreleg than our black doe here in four. Four is placing over five, and it is for general appearance, showing us more width between the hocks. A doe that is just wider up in the escutcheon, coupled with that body capacity, having more depth and more spring of rib than a very long chamois doe here in fifth place. And she's going to grant to this tremendous length of body that we have on this doe here in fifth place. Five is placing over six, and it is for this upstandingness, a doe that just walks very, very uphill, and she's leveler and flatter over that rump from thurl to thurl. Doe that's showing us a little more strength and angulation on those rear legs as well on our doe in sixth place. 6 over 7, it is for that body capacity category, a lot more spring rib, depth of body, just more power and substance on this doe here in 5 over 6. 6 over 7, it is general appearance. It's a doe that is smoother blending. She's flatter on that rump from hips to pins and thurl to thurl. A doe that is showing us a little more width between the hocks than our black doe here in seventh place. 7 over 8, general appearance, primarily being a doe that's just longer bodied. A doe that is flatter in her, or leveler in her chine area, stronger in that category. A doe with more proper angulation than our Cou Blanc doe here at the end of our first line, which is in ninth place. 9 over 10 in the balance of the class. It is for the feet and legs and general appearance. We have much more width between the hocks, coupled with that body capacity, spring of rib that we have on this doe. We have a lot of does in the second lineup that have a lot more length than they do depth or width. And in this stage in the game, it's hard to get both. Sometimes they're very gangly, and we've got a lot of that going on in this lineup here, and that's okay. Kids all go through growing spurts and stages, and I say all the time, if I go purely on looks, I'd probably throw away every kid in my breeding program at one time or the other, but we know what we're doing as breeders, so we hang on to them and let them grow out through those stages. So thank you, guys.
In our Alpine senior kid class, first place goes to entry 36. Chances are MAV Hattie, exhibited by Sarah Lanham, Columbus, Indiana. Second place to entry 29. Hohenbu RR Pasta Primavera, exhibited by Drew Broker, Bellefontaine, Ohio. Third place to entry 34. Love's Blue Ridge Cow Wren, exhibited by Brenda Leitner, Pittsboro, Indiana. Fourth place to entry 42. Pemberley Pine Maleficent, exhibited by Chasney Keller, Walkerton, Indiana. Fifth place to entry 38. Fox Hides Velma, exhibited by Todd Harp, Cynthiana, Kentucky. Sixth place to entry 40. Gilmore Acres Patriot Star, exhibited by Hannah Wolf, Mason, Illinois. Seventh place to entry 41. Pleasant Grove Drop Prada, exhibited by Hannah Gold, Franklin, Indiana. And eighth place to entry 45. Lee's Bees Misfit, exhibited by Katie Taggart, Ball Ground, Georgia. We have no Alpine junior yearlings, so we will show 2 Nubian classes in a row.
Our senior Nubian Doe kids, really strong class. In fact, all the way into the second lineup, there's some really strong kids. Um, and we would expect that here at the North American, and you should be proud as breeders. But starting off with I think the first lineup, at least three deep, very similar kids here. But starting out with a kid that I think is the most balanced, especially when she's on the move, just a really commanding kid. She's very upstanding. She's long-bodied, a doe that has that advantage in general appearance, being just a little longer bodied. A doe that's flatter over that rump from thurl to thurl. She has more proper angulation to those rear legs. She stands stronger on those front feet, less tendency to toe out than our kid here in our second place. 2 is placing over 3. Now in her turn for general appearance, a kid that's leveler over that back and rump when she's on the move. She shows us more width in that escutcheon area. She's a little straighter in that foreleg, especially in that knee area, than our kid here in 3. 3 is placing over 4. It is for her advantage in both dairy strength, being sharper in the withers, less excess fleshing, a longer, leaner neck, and body capacity, being deeper in the heart girth, more springer rib, and carrying that depth on back into that rear flank than our kid here in 4. 4 is placing over 5. It is for her advantage in general appearance. A kid that is stronger over her back and rump, especially that chine area. A kid that is just smoother blended. She's going to yield to the dairy strength of this black kid here in 5th place. 5 over 6, it is for general appearance. A kid that when she is on the move, she is much stronger over her back and her rump. She blends smoother over that front end. She walks with more uphillness than our spotted kid. She also has a slight advantage in the depth of that heart girth and straighter in their foreleg than our spotted kid here in 7th place. 7 over 8, it is for the advantage now that she has in general appearance, especially in that front end assembly. She's sharper in the withers, a doe that's just a little cleaner throughout. She is leveler over her chine area, and she has more angulation to those rear legs than our kid here at the end of the line. Our kid at the end of the line over our white kid that starts up our second lineup, it is for her advantage in that length of body and upstandingness and dairy strength, just a little sharper in those withers, more open in her ribbing. And again, some really nice kids here. We got this white kid. I love the balance and the symmetry that we have on this kid. Just like stretch her out and pick her up in the front end a little bit to move her up in this front line. But, you know, overall these kids, they either just didn't have the body capacity or the stretch to move them on up in the line here today.
In our Nubian senior kid class, first place goes to entry 61, KECMR Tardy's Margot, exhibited by the Rob Smith family, St. Paul, Indiana. Second place to entry 50, Hohenboo Epic Feather Funfetti, exhibited by Holly Broker, Bell Fountain, Ohio. Third place to entry 58, Drogetta Zap Hot Cocoa, exhibited by Chasney Keller, Walkerton, Indiana. Fourth place to entry 47, Just for TJE Daisy, exhibited by Julia Jacob, West Harrison, Indiana. Fifth place to entry 48, Hohenboo Downtown Joyride, exhibited by Holly Broker, Bell Fountain, Ohio. Sixth place to entry 54, Bagley's Troubled Acre Tink, exhibited by Lisa Bagley, Martinsville, Ohio. Seventh place to entry 52, Larkwood Farm Bling, exhibited by Jennifer Green, Marshall, Indiana. And eighth place to entry 62, KECMR Tardy's Marisol, exhibited by the Rob Smith family.
Starting this class, the Nubian Junior Yearlings, one is going over two today for her advantage in general appearance. We have a doe that's more correct in her feet and legs. She walks with more width between the hocks. A doe that is a little stronger on those pasterns. When she is on the move, she's leveler over that rump area from hips to pins as well as thorough, and she's more upstanding in the front end than our doe here in two. Two is placing over three, and it is for her advantage in turn and general appearance. We have a doe that's leveler over that chine area. She's leveler over her rump from hips to pins. A doe that has the advantage of being wider between the hocks now in her turn, as well as that body capacity category being more springer rib, more depth throughout than a very dairy doe here in third. Three is placing over four. It is for her advantage now in that body capacity. Now we have a doe that's deeper in her heart girth. A doe that carries that depth on back into that rear flank. And in dairy strength, she's sharper in her withers, just a flatter bone doe than this very long bodied doe here in four. Four is placing over five, and it is for the advantages she has in that length of body, the levelness over her top lines from hips to pins and thorough, and a slight advantage now in body capacity with a little more springer rib and depth. The last two does, we have them are a little more immature than the ones in front of them, just not quite as much depth and width throughout, but we certainly do appreciate the length that we're seeing on these does.
In our Nubian Dry Junior Yearling class, first place goes to entry 65, KECMR Explorer Giler, exhibited by the Rob Smith family, St. Paul, Indiana. Second place to entry 63, Bagley's Troubled Acres Layla, exhibited by the Rob Smith family from St. Paul, Indiana. Third place to entry 67, Bagley's Troubled Acres Schemester, exhibited by Lisa Bagley, Martinsville, Ohio. Fourth place to entry 64, J.H. Farm Espresso Solus, exhibited by Diana Hubbard, West Harrison, Indiana. And fifth place to entry 66, Adlo Chloe's Charm, exhibited by Lisa Light, Cox's Creek, Kentucky.
Alpine Senior Yearlings, what a strong, beautiful class that we have here today, especially these top three does. I think you could switch them anyway and give a set of reasons, and I could buy it. But for me today, one is going over two for her advantage in general appearance. When these does are on the move, she flattens out more over that back and rump. A doe that has more proper angulation on those rear legs. A doe that is just more uphill naturally. A doe that also is flatter on that rump from hips to pins. In dairy strength, she's sharper in her withers. She has a more proper shape to that front end assembly than our doe here in two. Two is placing over three. It is for her advantage in general appearance. A doe that has more proper angulation to those rear legs. A doe that has the advantage in body capacity with more spring of rib, more depth of body than our doe in three. Three is placing over four. It is for her advantage in general appearance. A doe that is leveler more naturally when she's on the move on that back and rump. She blends more smoothly from her neck into her withers. A doe that has more proper angulation in her turn on those rear legs than does our doe in four. Four is placing over five for her advantage in body capacity. A doe that has more spring of rib, more depth throughout, more width throughout than this really long, upstanding doe here in five. Five is one of my personal favorites. I just like to see this doe mature and fill out a little more. Love the presence and the length on this doe and the feet and legs on this doe. And it is for this dairy strength, this upstandingness, and the length of body and the dairiness that puts her over the doe here in sixth place. 6 over 7, it is for general appearance, primarily the strength of feet and legs, pasterns, and the set to those front legs over our doe here in seventh place. 7 over 8, it is for her advantage in general appearance. When she's on the move, a doe that blends more smoothly from her neck into her withers. She's tighter at the point of elbow. She's showing us more width between the chest floor and those rear legs than our doe here in 8th place. 8 over 9, it is for general appearance. We have a doe that's just a longer bone pattern doe, longer body throughout, more upstanding. She blends more naturally from her neck into her withers. A doe that is also more substance of bone and more body capacity. She's deeper in the heart girth. There's just a little more doe here than our Coup Blanc doe here at the end of the line. You can move out that first line. 9 over 10 and the balance of the class, it is for dairy strength. We have a doe that's just sharper in the withers. She's more open throughout than this really stylish sun-gal doe. Here, one of our smaller does, but a very balanced doe, really smoothly blending and correct when you look at her. And it is for this correctness, primarily in the feet and legs, the pasterns, the width between the hocks that sets her at the head of this line. When we look at these other does up and down the line, we primarily would like to see stronger general appearance and feet and legs, the pasterns, the width between the hocks, to move them on up in the class here today. Thank you all.
In our Alpine Dry Senior Yearling class, first place goes to entry 54, Tagalong Elsa, exhibited by Lauren Harnishfager, Fountaintown, Indiana. Second place to entry 61, Hohenbu Pasta Pesto, exhibited by Drew Broker, Bellefountain, Ohio. Third place to entry 57, G Farms Midori, exhibited by Hannah Gold, Franklin, Indiana. Fourth place to entry 52, Chances Are Magic Baby Ruth, exhibited by Sarah Lanham, Columbus, Indiana. Fifth place to entry 53, Tagalong LA Myra, exhibited by Lauren Harnishfager, Fountaintown, Indiana. Sixth place to entry 50, Kelsey's Farms Tammy, exhibited by Jack Kelsey, Franklin, Indiana. Seventh place to entry 62, Hohenbu Tab Pom Pom Patrizi, exhibited by Chasney Keller, Walkerton, Indiana. And eighth place to entry 56, G Farms Milkshake, exhibited by Hannah Gold, Franklin, Indiana.
Our senior yearling Nubian lineup here, a really strong lineup. Uh, Doe's breeders should be proud of. One is going over two today for her advantage in general appearance. We have a doe that's standing on a stronger set of feet and legs. She's more correct on those rear pasterns. She's tighter on her toes. There's less give on those pasterns when she's on the move, coupled with body capacity. We have a doe that's deeper in her heart girth. She has more depth back into that rear flank, more spring of rib overall than our doe here in two. Two is placing over three. It is for the advantage that we have in dairy strength. We have a doe that is sharper in her withers. She's more open in her ribbing. She's carrying less excess fleshing. And this time of year, it's really hard on these senior yearlings. I know. I fight the battle myself and with the goats. So with that said, we have that in all the kids at this time of year, and so I get it. We want them to grow, but we got to look at them too. So I give them some grace, but we don't want them to be too fluffy. So three going over four, it's general appearance. We have a doe that's stronger on those feet and legs, primarily those front feet. We don't have quite as much give on those. We're tighter in their toes. We're a little straighter on those front legs, especially on those knees. When we're on the move, we have a leveler over our back and rump and flatter on that rump from thurl to thurl than our doe in four. Four is placing over five. It is for her advantage in dairy strength. It's a doe that has a longer, leaner neck. She's sharper in her withers. She's more incurving in her thigh than our doe here in five. Five's placing over six. It is for that body capacity category. We have a doe that's just wider throughout. She's deeper, more spring of rib. Than our very stylish doe here in sixth. We also have the general appearance category where we're just stronger in those rear pasterns at this point than our doe here in six. We do want to commend the beautiful escutcheon that we have on this sixth place doe. Six is placing over seven, and it is general appearance. It is for that levelness over the back and rump, the flatness on from hips to pins and thurl to thurl, the blending from her neck into her withers, and the correctness in that front end assembly, less prominence at that point of shoulder when we're on the move, as well as the proper angulation to those rear legs on our doe here in seventh place. 7 over 8, it is for the advantage that we have in body capacity, the springer rib, the depth of body. Just there's a lot more doe here in our sixth place over 7. 7 over 8, it is for her advantage in general appearance, a doe that's much leveler over her back and rump when she's on the move, and more importantly, feet and legs, especially those front feet, the shape of that foot, the way that she's walking on those feet over our gray doe here in ninth place. 9 over 10, it is for general appearance. We have a doe that there's just much more doe. She's more upstanding. She's longer bodied. She's flatter over that rump from hips to pins and thurl to thurl, and she's stronger on her feet and legs. Now I'm going to give some grace to this doe here in 10th place. She's bred, so she's starting to uncouple in that rump some. So that is it's a touchy place right now. We get that. But it is for her general appearance, that beautiful front end assembly and strength on her feet and legs. It's putting her over our 11th place doe here today. And again, some really strong does in this second lineup here. Does that in many county fairs and club shows would easily go to the top of the class. But for today, we just need them stronger in general appearance. Front end assembly, leveler over the top, stronger on their pasterns to move up in the class here today. Thank you all.
In our Nubian Dry Senior Yearling class, first place goes to entry 77, J.H. Farms Bunnies IQ, exhibited by Diana Hubbard, West Harrison, Indiana. Second place to entry 68, KECMR Twist Shea, exhibited by Rob Smith Family, St. Paul, Indiana. Third place to entry 86, Woods River Rising Phoenix, exhibited by Reagan Arney, Avon, Indiana. Fourth place to entry 81, Hohenbu Status Moscato de Asti, exhibited by Holly Broker, Bell Fountain, Ohio. Fifth place to entry 79, Kiwanis Kids Desert Daisy, exhibited by Lisa Sinassel, Rochester, Indiana. Sixth place to entry 85, Woods River Coco's Toffee, exhibited by Travis Arney, Avon, Indiana. Seventh place to entry 76, Bagley's Troubled Acre Tenacity, exhibited by Lisa Bagley, Martinsville, Ohio. And eighth place to entry 73, Hohenbu Epic Elusive Evasive, exhibited by Holly Broker. As we're lining up here for our junior champion Alpine, I'd like to take a minute to recognize our judge for the weekend. Miss April Hitch has been part of the dairy goat industry for over 40 years. She started her membership with ADGA with Nubians and eventually switched to Alpines and La Manchas under the Shady Lawn Farm herd name. She brings Alpines, La Manchas, recorded grade, still owns a few Nubians, and now Sables. The farm is considered a herd of distinction and she's an ADGA lifetime member. April has competed numerously on a national level, holding accolades of reserve national champion, several reserve best udders, and premier recorded grade and exhibitor, as well as numerous national class winners. April became a licensed ADGA judge 3 years ago after a lifelong dream of aspiring to become one. She lives after a lifelong dream of aspiring to become one. She lives on a farm in northern Kentucky where she also raises various livestock like quarter horses, miniature cattle, with her husband Mike and three daughters, Faith, Hope, and Ava. While traveling the country as a judge, April's main goal is to become an educator for youth and instill the love she has for this industry. Because of her father, Harold Nation's impact on the start of the Dairy Goat Show at NAILE, she holds a huge passion for it. She is incredibly honored to be on the other side of the show ring this year, and she thanks the exhibitors and the show committee for making it possible. Let's give April a big round of applause.
We have my lineup out here for our junior champion Alpine, and it's been a really competitive show. I think that these breeders, exhibitors certainly deserve a round of applause. I'm very pleased with this group of does. We start off with our late junior kid here. If I remember right, she was a June-born kid. She kind of is it the ideal of when I think of a late-born Alpine kid, extremely stylish, uphill, and dairy, standing on strong feet and legs. We just need her to mature and have some more maturity to be able to compete with these does out here in the lineup here today. Then we have our April-born kid, a really growthy kid for an April kid. Lots of substance of bone, long-bodied, uphill. Doe. Then we have our March-born kid, our intermediate kid, the Sun Gal, a doe that's extremely uphill, dairy level, beautiful on the move, really beautiful front end and width. Our senior kid, again, the word that comes to mind when I look at this kid's balance. Really wide and lovely and dairy and flat boned. And then the senior yearling, which I love. She's still growthy and elegant, but not didn't get heavy, and yet she has body capacity. And again, just really elegant. To me, the two does that stand out in this lineup that are the strongest in general appearance, primarily feet and legs, and body capacity while maintaining that dairy strength is going to be our intermediate kid and our senior kid. And when I compare these two does, the one that stands out in my mind when she's on the move with the levelness over the back and rump, combined with that body capacity, that depth throughout. And when I put my hands on her, she is so flat boned and open ribbed and thin skinned. It's going to be my senior kid. She's going to be my junior champion. We bring in our second place senior kid, and this is a powerful kid. When she walks in, she kind of commands your attention for that depth and that power. Not quite as strong on her feet and legs, a little bit of hockiness on this kid. Love her top line, love her depth. I'd like to correct the feet and legs just a little bit when compared to our intermediate kid in front of her. I think now for the strength of those feet and legs, the strength of that dariness and sharpness in the withers, we're going to move up to that intermediate kid for reserve.
And our junior champion Alpine is entry 36, the senior kid. Chances are May Hattie, exhibited by Sarah Lanham, Columbus, Indiana. Our reserve junior champion is the intermediate kid, G Farms Mercedes, exhibited by Hannah Gold, Franklin, Indiana. Congratulations.
And this is my lineup for my junior champion, Nubian. Again, really proud of the group of Nubians and the consistency up and down this lineup. We have strong general appearance, just beautiful front ends, level top lines, and a lot of width. Watching these does walk away from me, the discussions on these does hold just a lot of promise. Starting with this junior kid, I love the dariness, the flatness of bone, the openness of rib on this kid. When you put your hands on her, this kid by far feels the best of anything in the lineup. Our earlier junior kid here, one of our strongest kids in just general appearance, the way she walks, the levelness, the commanding of your attention, and the beautiful discussion on this stow. Our intermediate kid, again, a beautiful kid in the levelness that she has, the strength of her feet and legs. Our senior kid, just a really powerful kid, very deep and wide throughout. Again, you got to appreciate her when she's on the move. She's very level over that back and rump, and a really nice blending from her neck into her withers. Our junior yearling, which a lot of times is a weak class, was really strong with this doe. A doe that's well grown. She's very deep, long lean neck on this doe. And then our senior yearling, tremendous class in the senior yearlings of Nubians. It was about 19, if I remember correctly, in that class, and she came to the top in that. Strong feet and legs, and another doe that you really appreciate on the move. Again, I really love my lineup I've got out here. I think what sets some of these does apart is going to be the combination. They've all got general appearance. It's going to be that combination of dairy strength and body capacity with that. And today, I think that falls between our two oldest does in the lineup, this junior yearling, the senior yearling. And today, when you put your hands on them and you're feeling of those withers, the sharpness that they've got and the flatness of bone, the one that's just a little sharper with just a little longer neck, the one that's just when she walks is just a little more elegant. It's going to be that junior yearling. She's going to be my junior champion. We bring in our second place junior yearling, and a doe that carries the same body capacity. She's not quite as correct on those feet and legs. She, when she's walking, not quite as level in the chine. So for those reasons, we're going to step back to this very level, uphill senior yearling for my reserve junior champion.
And our junior champion Nubian was our dry junior yearling, KECMR Explorer Giler, exhibited by the Rob Smith family, St. Paul, Indiana. Our reserve junior champion was the dry senior yearling, JH Farms Bunnies IQ, exhibited by Diana Hubbard. Congratulations.
Alpine Best Junior 3. One is going over 2 today for their advantage in the consistency of general appearance, primarily feet and legs, the width between the hocks, the levelness over the back rump. 2 is placing over 3. Now the consistency and body capacity, springer rib, depth of body all the way across the group, combined with the strength of those rear pasterns over our third place group. 3 over 4, it is for the advantage. We have 3 senior yearlings, and they are more mature. We have the length of body, the more upstandingness, the flatness of bone on these 3 does over our fourth place group. 4 over 5, it is general appearance, the width between the hocks, the width and the escutcheon over these very long bodied does here in 5. 5 over 6, it is for their slight advantage here in body capacity. We have more springer rib, more depth of body. Than our group here in 6. 6 over 7, it is for the advantage that we have here in the length of body and the upstandingness, the consistency and the dairy strength overall. We do appreciate the openness of ribbing in this last place group. Starting off our class, 1 is going over 2 today for their consistency in the body capacity category. We have more springer rib coupled with more depth of body. We have more length of body, then dairy strength, sharpness over the withers, more openness of ribbing, less excess fleshing in this first group over our second group. 2 is placing over 3. It is for the consistency and general appearance, the smoothness of blending, the width throughout over our third place group. 3 is placing over 4. It is for the dairy strength. Now we have more sharpness in those withers, more openness in the ribbing, more flatness of bone throughout than this group here in 4. 4 is placing over 5. It is for the consistency that we have here overall in the feet and legs on these does, the width and the chest floor over our group here in 5. 5 placing over 6. It is for the advantage that we have here in the length of body, coupled with the dairy strength. We're sharper in the withers in this group over our group of these red does here. Really smoothly blended does we like here. Maybe just a little heavier in the withers than, and again, as I said, this time of year, I get it. 6 over 7. It is for the smoothness of blendingness, the consistency, the flatness over the rumps that moves them over the group here, second from the end. Second from the end over the group at the end. It is for that substance of bone, the strength throughout the body capacity over this very dairy group here at the end of the line. Alpine Junior get a sire. One is going over 2 today for their advantage that we have in general appearance, specifically that width between the hocks and the angulation to those rear legs, coupled with the levelness over their backs and rumps of all 3 does. 2 is placing over 3. Again, it's for the advantage in general appearance, specifically feet and legs, strength of those rear pasterns, tightness of the toes, coupled with body capacity to move them over our 3rd place group. 3 is placing over 4. It is for the advantage of that length of body, the upstandingness, and the overall body capacity of these 3 yearlings over our 3 younger does here. To put them over our 4th place group. 4 is placing over 5. It's for the advantage in feet and legs, the width between the hocks, the width between the chest floor to move them over our group in 5. 5 over 6. Some similar does, but we have more maturity here. So again, we have more in depth and more length, more upstandingness than our group here in 6th place. 6 over 7. Now we're falling into what Alpines do, unfortunately, and that's hawk in a lot of times. So we have these long, stretchy, beautiful front-ended does, but we have some, rear legs that we're going to have to wait till we get those big udders in to spread them out. But we have 3 does here that are like peas in a pod, very upstanding, really like the length and the stretch and the levelness over those top lines, and it is for that levelness and the strength of those feet and legs to move them over our group here in 7th place. 7 over 8, it's the consistency in the 3 does, the length of body, the length of bone, the upstandingness, and the openness in the ribbing that puts them over our more inconsistent group here at the end of the line. Nubian Junior Getta sire. A lot of consistency up and down these lines. Really like the groups that our breeders have put together. One is going over two today for the consistency and general appearance, the levelness over these backs and rumps, the upstandingness on these does. Again, very consistent three does that we have here going over our second place group. A little sharper in those withers than our second place group. Two is placing over three, and it is for their advantage in the length of body that we have on all three does, coupled with the length, dairiness, the length of neck, the sharpness in the withers over our third place group. Three is placing over four. It is for the advantage in the body capacity carried by all three does, and the depth in the heart girth, and the width throughout that chest floor on all three does over our group here in four. Four over five, it's for that general appearance, the upstandingness, the length of body, coupled with the dairy strength, the sharpness in those withers on all does in our fourth place group over five. Five placing over six. It is for the advantage here in general appearance, the width in the hocks, the width in the escutcheon, and the correctness in feet and legs that puts them over our group here in six. Six over seven is a dairy strength placement. We have more sharpness in the withers, more length in the bone, more length of body, more flatness of bone, and just a little bit cleaner type animal over our group here in seven. Seven over eight. It is for the consistency and that general appearance, the flatness and the levelness of the rumps from hips to pins and thurl to thurl, and the spring of rib on these does. When we go seven over eight, it is for the maturity. We have does here that just excels in the body capacity, the strength of bone, and the width throughout. We have some really younger animals here, and they just don't have that strength yet or the depth and width.